my name is Rolisa Modise. I'm the chairperson of the ASISA Alumni Committee. I'm representing the team today, and this interview was inspired by National Service Month. And today, I'm with Laura, who's going to introduce herself, and maybe I would like you to just go a bit more about who you are, your profession, and maybe just touch on what you do with ASISA.
Sure. What were you saying? So I'm the editor of Smart About Money. Smart About Money is a consumer financial education website. It's funded by ASISA. I've been a personal finance journalist most of my life, so that's how I got into writing for Smart About Money and helping to set up the website, because I've spent my journalism career focusing on educating people about managing their money better.
Oh, well, thank you so much for introducing yourself. We have a list of questions compiled by the team, and I'll just go through the questions and
Sure.
we'll hear more. So the first question is, why is National Service Month relevant today?
So I think a lot of South Africans think that they have no control over their money.
Yeah.
They think they either earn too little or they have too many family responsibilities, and that there's nothing that they can actually do to improve their financial lives.
Yeah.
But unless you're earning sort of on the poverty line, unless you know earning a very, very small amount, there's always choices you can make with your money, and there are always ways of using your money better to serve you and to help you reach your financial goals better. And one of the big things in South Africa is that many of us carry way too much debt. And when you buying things on credit because you think it's a life you need to lead,
Yes.
or you need a fancy car rather than a basic car, those kind of things, then you start to incur a lot of interest on that debt, and it costs you. Banks and credit lenders are making interest on the money that they lend you, whereas you are paying it. So a simple decision like delaying gratification of buying something, waiting and saving up, letting your money work for you while you're saving, can make a difference to your financial life. So, and compounding works against you when you've got debt, but when you're saving, compounding works for you. So it's a simple way of switching money working against you or money working for you.
Yeah.
And I think too few of us appreciate the power of compounding, because when you start to save when you're young and you're saving small amounts and it feels a little bit, oof, this is not doing much for me, it's not much is happening here. But people fail to realize that compounding interest accelerates, and that the power of that compounding and saving works for you much later in your life. The magic happens then, as long as you disciplined and you start saving those small amounts when you're younger.
Oh, thank you for that. You've said so much actually that's kind of like tempting me to go beyond the scope of what we prepared. But thank you so much, especially about compounding. I feel like I've never thought of it that way, But going on into the questions that we have, so what does being smart about money means?
I think, being smart with your money means making the most of what you've got, no matter what you earn. So obviously you want to progress in your career and start to earn more. You want to maybe have investments that are working for you. You want to maybe earn a passive income or have a side hustle, whatever it is. You definitely want to progress in your life and earn more. But even if you earn more, if you don't manage your money well, and if you are spending more than you earn, you're still going to land up in debt, and you're still going to land up not very wealthy, because you're going to keep owing people and you won't have kept any of the money and saved it and grown wealth. So being smart with money means, understanding that concept and being able to live within your means, and to have enough room in your budget to save some of the money in order to grow wealth.
Sure, thank you. And why do South Africans struggle to save on this daily basis?
I think, many South Africans, as I say, are carrying debt, and so that makes it difficult to, either debt repayments are compounding against you, and then they start consuming a large amount of your income, and then it leaves too little for you to live on, and then you start borrowing more because you think, well, I can't manage, I need credit to make ends meet. I think some South Africans think that saving and investing is only for wealthy people, which is a mistake. I think some people think that saving or investing is something that clever people do. It isn't. Anybody can do it. Anybody on any income at any level of education can start a savings account and then move into investing.
Thank you so much. Can anyone become a saver? Which I think you've actually touched on that. And I think for me, as you're busy speaking, I'm listening to yourself. I think what comes to me is like, when you start in the industry, I think most people around my age, you start in the industry, you're the first in the family, and you want to make a change for your family. You want to make that impact. At the same time, you want to be financially sustainable. So how do you now encourage those people who just became or just started their jobs, and you know they're trying to save, but obviously there's a whole lot of responsibilities kind of like weighing on their shoulders?
So I think, yeah, it's very difficult when you're the first one in your family to land a good job, because you're the first one to maybe have had a chance to get an education. There's a lot of demands on you, there's a lot of pressure on you, but you should take some guidance from people who've been through this before and who have the experience. And they'll always say you need to be open, and you need to talk about money to your family, and you need to talk about your own needs, what you need to spend for yourself, and what you need in order to save for yourself, in order that you can move your family forward. Because if you just stay in a position of not having any savings, eventually you will land up relying on your children, and there's no ever getting out of that situation. So it's a balance, and I can't give you an absolute answer of how you can do it. But it needs to be a conversation where you educate your family with you, and you decide on, you know, this is how I'm going to support my family in this way, and this is what I'm going to set aside for savings. And
wonderful. So what is the first step someone should take today to be, you know, financially free and to start saving money?
So I think the first thing is to look at your budget, and if debt is the thing that is, you know, making your budget really hard to work with, then you need to tackle that debt first. So first of all, look at, like, what is it I owe, particularly if you've got that short-term, very expensive debt, like credit cards, personal loans. That kind of debt is very expensive. Obviously, longer-term loans, like a home loan, is something that you need to pay off over time, and it's not as expensive as the short-term debt. But getting those short-term debt repayments off your budget, and then living within your means. So deciding now what do I need for my needs, what is important to me in my life, is you don't just want to meet your basic needs and not have any fun in life. Obviously you want to make a nice balance between meeting your needs, having a bit of space for fun, supporting family, whatever it is that needs to be within that budget, and then also space for you to save, so that you can save for your future goals and move your financial life forward.
Sure. Powerful. So how does Smart About Money now support consumers?
So Smart About Money is a free-to-use platform. It's we've put a lot of articles onto the website that explain all the things that I've been talking about today, as well as explaining financial products. So if you're going to start using some kind of investment and you don't understand how it works, there are articles there that in plain language explain, you know, how, for example, a retirement fund works, or how a retirement annuity works, or how a exchange traded fund or a unit trust, whatever it is that you think you may need to use in your financial life. There are articles there explaining it. You can read it in your own time. We've tried to write it as simply as possible that everyone can understand it. And also there are tools on the website. There are tools that you can use to help you draw up a budget, to help you see the impact of paying a little bit more into your debt in order to pay it down faster. There are tools to help you set financial goals, so that you can save to reach a financial goal, maybe a holiday, or maybe you're saving for to study further. So all of those things you'll find on the website. And as I say, there's, you know, you can use it anytime, you can read it at any time of the day, and there's no cost, and no one's going to cold call you and try and sell you something. It's for you to absorb and learn from in your own time.
Oh, thank you. And why is financial education so important?
So I think, you know, for all the reasons that I've said, when you know and appreciate what it is that you need to do, there's very simple and basic rules that or habits that if you set up, you can move your financial life forward no matter where you are, whether you currently in debt or you have no savings. If you just set up those good financial habits, you can start to move forward and start to make a difference in your life.
And what role do employers in the industry have to play in making sure that, you know, the employees are financially stable?
So most employers offer you some kind of benefits. They may have a retirement fund. They may subsidize healthcare costs for you. They probably offer you some kind of life insurance on a retirement fund. All of those things can help you a lot, but I think employers can also play an important role in making space and time for employees to learn how to manage their money better. I think it almost a little bit paternalistically employers can help you to learn to improve your situation.
And I think until now, as you're busy speaking, I just didn't see all of those benefits as an instrument that is used for one to be smart about money. I think I've always seen it as entitlement. I think everyone who goes into employment stage and said, "Oh, I'm entitled to these benefits," but you never see it as that instrument that is laid out for you as an employee to start making those steps into being smart about money. So thank you for that. So what are the biggest misconceptions about saving?
I think people think it's too difficult. People think they earn too little. People think you have to be clever or smart in order to save. You don't. Anybody can do it. And then obviously a lot of demands on your income. If you are supporting family, it is tough. But unless you start and unless you're the one that makes the change, your family's going to be stuck in that cycle of you depending on your children and them having to support you and never growing forward.
And one of the closing questions so looking ahead, what message would you like every South African to remember?
I think there's a great saying that's often used in the industry, and that's pay yourself first. And I think, we often spend our income and then we think, I've got nothing left to save. But if you set yourself the goal of, this is what I'm going to pay myself for my future financial goals first, and then I'm going to allocate the rest of what I earn to my needs and my wants, and then you set up that habit that the minute the income lands in your bank account, you're paying yourself for your future goals first. And I think it's a very powerful thing to do, to switch it around, not to spend first and then try to save, but to make that a priority. This is what I'm going to do. This is my goal. I'm going to set aside every month this amount of money. Well,
thank you. And I think the closing question that we had from the team was, if every South African could adopt just one financial habit after this month of Savings Month, what would you hope that habit would be if they could just adapt one good habit?
I think that pay yourself first, and allied to that, a lot of people, their best intentions and their best laid plans are kiboshed by financial emergencies. And I think setting up and saving into an emergency fund helps you also to pay yourself first, and it helps you to stay on track, not to go into debt when some financial crisis arises, or not to raid your savings when a financial crisis arrives. So setting up an emergency account is and saving a little bit. Good financial advisors say you should save 3 times your salary into an emergency account, and it can seem very daunting, I think, in the beginning. But if you start small, if you start with something, the first small emergency that happens, you actually have that savings ready there to use, and you're not going to raid your whatever else you've saved in maybe your retirement fund or saving for a goal. You're not going to raid that, and you're not going to go into debt and incur the interest of repaying that debt. So even starting with a small savings account can help you to move forward.
Sure. And I think I've taken so much for this conversation, and I think one thing that is just on my mind is when you say pay yourself first, I think to me it's very clear that 10% before expenses, it's actually much more greater than 10% after expenses, and we don't really see it that way. And just listening to how you said compounding can work against us. We use these words, but we never really look at it from a practical sense. And I just want to say thank you for this knowledge that you've shared with us today.
That's a pleasure.
And I think the team will also be grateful, and I'm hoping that this interview would make an impact to whoever that's going to be watching the video or whoever's going to be listening from this. And thank you so much for your contribution, and we hope to connect with you again in future interviews.
That's a pleasure.
Anytime. Thank you, Appreciate it. Thanks.